All right, thanks for staying with us on SABC News. Khayelihle Khumalo is in Pretoria. Let's go to him. Khayelihle, very good afternoon. Just tell us why you're there and what's happening.
Well, absolutely, Nzinga, from the blistering hot streets here in Pretoria. So where we are really, we're just outside the Israeli diplomatic mission here in South Africa. As you know, that South Africa's governing party, the ANC, they'll be heading this side. So they are here to express their displeasure with the current situation in Gaza. So they are calling for cessation of hostilities, Nzinga, especially in light of that announcement from the presidency that now Egypt is going to host tomorrow a peace summit calling for the resumption of the peace talks between Israel and Palestine, especially because this has been a very ongoing conflict for some time. But let's speak to some people who are here. Joining us now is Mr. Masemola from the ex-political prisoners. We can see that he's really busy. So thank you so much indeed for your time. We're just talking off air about your presence here today, that you're sending a very clear message. Tell us about the significance of your presence today.
Yes, today we have gathered here at the colonial outpost of the Zionist entity here in South Africa in support of the resistance movement in the region, in the Western, Asia, and also in Palestine particularly, and also in support of the people of Gaza against the genocide which has been perpetrated by this wanted man, Benjamin Netanyahu, who has committed, who has also, since 1947, he has committed a lot of, crimes against humanity, against the people of Palestine. And then up until today, or 7 days ago, we have seen that he has brutally, massacred people also in hospitals. Today we heard that he has bombed the church. So this must come to an end. So we have been calling to all peace-loving South Africans, the Muslim communities. You can see we've got young children here who are in support of the people of Gaza, who have been brutally massacred. And this is a genocide. And we are saying the ICC also cannot stood idle. The ICC must issue a warrant of arrest against this war criminal called Benjamin Netanyahu and his lieutenants.
Because what will it take for this conflict to end? I mean, it's a long-standing conflict. Others, in fact, go as far as calling it intractable.
Yes, indeed. What we are calling for the two-state solution, so that the people of Palestine can govern themselves, can have their own state, a sovereign state with equal rights, their own airports, their own schools, and govern themselves like what the Israelis are doing in Israel. So the two-state solution, we have been talking about that since the Oslo Accord. So after 75 years, we are still talking the same language. And we are saying it is time now that the two-state solution should be implemented. And it is the Palestinians themselves that must decide what kind of government and the system that they want in their own country.
And what do you make of this argument by the Palestinian authorities, where they say the two-state solution really is becoming unviable because of the illegal annexation of their land? So now they've lost quite a significant amount of land. So what can be done to make sure that we see the coexistence of these two countries?
Yes, some members of the resistance movement within the diaspora of the Middle East have been calling for a unitary state, one united Palestine, and not to recognize Israel, because they said there's no Israel. But, through a lot of engagements and political engagements with them, to say, look, we need to have, your own Palestine state. So I cannot determine now, and I cannot dictate to say what kind of state, but it is themselves, the people of Palestine, that what do they want. But now we are here to support for a free Palestine and the release of political prisoners. And the negotiations must just begin in Egypt or in Jordan.
But before we let you go, sir, do you think this is a very helpful exercise? And are you really cautiously optimistic to have a representative from the Israeli embassy taking the memorandum, showing a bit of acknowledgement given the seriousness of the situation? I mean, you're talking about the humanitarian catastrophe facing the people of Gaza. We're seeing the death toll rising in Gaza, where almost 4,000 people have died.
As I said before, that we are standing here in front of the Zionist colonial outpost. Our call to the South African government was that this embassy should close. And they must pack their bags and go, because they don't represent us. They don't represent democratic values. They don't represent humanitarian law, or they don't actually recognize the international law. They violated international law. They represent Zionism, which is anti-democracy, and they are a totalitarian regime. They are a fascist regime. They represent a Nazi quasi-regime, and these are the defenders of Zionism and apartheid. Israel is an apartheid state, as it has been declared.
All right, so thank you so much indeed for your time. So, Nzinga, that's one of the protesters here in Pretoria, really talking about the seriousness of today and really talking about the atrocities that have been committed in Gaza Strip, and really just making a clarion call to the international community to act in a very positive way, especially in light of the death toll that we're seeing rising quite dramatically in Gaza Strip, but also the desperate need as well for the humanitarian aid. With that, back to you in studio.
Thanks, Khayelihle Khumalo, for that update from Pretoria. He's following that story and will update us a little bit later on.